The World Wood Bat Association World Championship. Scouts, check. Nerves, check. Growing the game, check, check, check. One of the most historic amateur baseball tournaments globally is here, yet not in its usual spot, but it's still in Florida. Great competition in 2020. Can be hard to find, but not here. Day number 4 at the World Wood Bat Association World Championship, and we're talking about players and excited to do so. Brian Sakowski next to me, Jered Goodwin to my right, Vinnie Cervino on the far end, seeing players all over town. And the other part of this great show today is we're going to send a player all over town, a key player in this event. He will provide perspective. But let's talk about players. Ultimately, this is why everyone comes, to see the players as they build their futures. And Brian, let's start with you. We're going to go with the 3-pack to start, and let's go with Peter Hubeck, a young man who's a Wake Forest commit. He's out of Baltimore. He's a 21.
Yeah, a guy that we liked a lot in the summer that we were super interested to see again here on a big stage. He didn't need to do anything overwhelming to kind of continue his draft stock, but what he did do was that, to kind of establish himself. Projection righty, you don't need to see a big velocity jump at this point yet, and he didn't have that, but he worked 90-93. It's a really fast arm. It's a really good breaking ball. He did the things. He hit the checkpoints we wanted him to hit. Now we go into the offseason, we get stronger, come out in the spring, and with some strength gains that all of a sudden might be a guy that shoots up boards even more.
One of my favorite recent guests on our radio content on SiriusXM is Thatcher Hurd. He's a UCLA commit, so you like the young man. He's out of Manhattan Beach, California. What kind of player?
Yeah, that's another guy that we like that we just didn't see a ton of. We saw him, but we didn't see a ton of him. And for him to come here, play with FTB, a guy that we circled early as someone we needed to make sure we saw, and he was good. A really good slider when he's on top of it, throws strikes, it's a great body, he's a good athlete, just a really nice projection righty that I think could end up a first rounder in June.
Drew Gray's an Arkansas commit. He got to work out during quarantine with his brother who came home from Arkansas. He's a PG All-American. That probably turned out to be a good thing for him. What's he done here?
No doubt, and he was a two-way guy. He's a guy that we liked a little bit more as a bat, I think, as far back as June. But as the summer went on, as things progressed, and now into October, after a couple months at IMG, getting really good instruction there, I think he's an arm more than anything now. It's really good yesterday. He can really spin a curveball and a slider. It's loose and whippy up to 92, 93. Great body. Just a really interesting one to watch.
I always assume, and get comfortable, Vinny, with that everyone knows our guys, but then you're living in a vacuum if you do it. So we all know Brady House. The baseball world knows Brady House. But you've watched him work here, Brady House. He didn't come to National Showcase. And what has this top prospect done here, the Tennessee commit?
Well, essentially the thing that Brady House has done is hit so far. And that's kind of what that was what we were looking for him to do when he came down here to Jupiter. He's an incredibly tools out prospect, one of the best prospects in the country, I think number 4 per our perfect game rankings right now. You've got a plus arm, potential glove at shortstop, a great body with physical projection. And he's come down here and over the first 3 games in pool play, he's hit the ball extremely hard. We got 108 exit velocity singles, 100 plus exit velocity doubles. He's really hit the ball, and he's hit the ball with authority and impact, which really bodes well for his draft stock heading into next year.
So Brady House is a guy we got used to seeing, and so is Carter Holton, the PG All-American. Another guy for that Team Elite travel team, the Atlanta Braves scout team, a Vanderbilt commit. And what did Carter Holton do here? Left-handed pitcher.
Carter Holton did what he's been doing all year, pretty much. You look at the numbers from PG events this spring, summer, and fall, and he's been one of the more dominant pitchers on the circuit. Ran the fastball up to 95 miles an hour, held it right there at 92, 94. The slider's an incredibly effective pitch for Carter. It's a very distinct pitch because of its lower spin rate, but he really manipulates it and gets good efficiency on it. And he also has a changeup. He's just a really polished left-handed pitcher. And I think in my write-up I called him a bulldog because he's one of the pitchers you want on the mound in a game that you have to win. And he's established that for himself over the course of the year.
Military school guy, holds down a part-time job, and also does all of this. I like it. The Bulldog's a good way to describe him. Colson Montgomery, Indiana. He's out of Holland, Indiana. He's Team Indiana. He is an Indiana commit. Who is this left-handed hitter?
Yeah, Colson Montgomery is actually also a very highly touted basketball prospect too. So he's got a very interesting athletic dynamic that he brings to the diamond. He's 6'4", about 190, 200 pounds, very lanky frame, a lot of extension, a lot of room to fill. He really gets extended with his hands out in front and drives the ball. There's some really intriguing projectable power that scouts like when they look at him, and scouts like us too. He hit a home run yesterday. He's been hitting the ball hard, a lot of hard exit velocities, and also showing pretty improved defense at shortstop. You know, it's good footwork, it's good actions. He may have to move to third base long term because he is, 6'4" with a lot of room to add strength, but right now the offensive upside is pretty impressive.
Who has seen, this isn't on the list, who's seen Roman Kimball? Anyone?
I have.
Give me your 30 seconds on Roman.
Yeah, I've seen him a couple times last month even. Just pounds the zone. It's a really good, high riding spin fastball. Then he misses bats with the top of the zone, spins a curveball, spins a slider, lots of strikes, really athletic, fun guy to watch.
Okay, so here's why I brought that name up. What is he? 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth member of our broadcast team. He's out of New York. He's a Notre Dame commit, and we're not just here at Terry Park, we're all over town. One of the places, the winter home, the second home of the Boston Red Sox at JetBlue Park. Roman, the rest is up to you.
Hello everyone, my name is Roman Kimball. I'm from New Hartford, New York. We're here at the WWBA World Bat Championship in Fort Myers, Florida at JetBlue Park. And I play for the East Coast Lumberjacks and the Canes. And let's go take a tour. All right, so we're here at the Ted Williams statue. Ted Williams, if you don't know who he is, then you're probably not the biggest baseball fan out there, but Ted Williams is probably the greatest Red Sox player who ever lived, and arguably one of the best hitters of all time. Would have loved to see him play against Joe DiMaggio, but it's getting a little hot right here, so let's go to our next location. All right, so we're here at Gate C at JetBlue Park. Although I'm a Yankees fan, there's some great players who have their numbers engraved here at this park, including the great Pedro Martinez, who was the best Red Sox pitcher, stat-wise, who's ever put the Red Sox uniform on. So we have Jackie Robinson here as well. Jackie Robinson has had such an influence on the game. Every year the players wear his number on a specific day called Jackie Robinson Day now. And last but not least, we have David Ortiz, who's arguably the clutchest home run hitter of all time. Oh, there's a huge wing behind me. Let's go check that out. Regulation size, that's for sure. All right, so we're gonna go get into JetBlue Park. We're all access, we can get into anything. Oh, wait. It says Red Sox players and staff only, and all others will be trespassing. I guess nobody's coming to let us in. I think we're not allowed in because of COVID, and that reminds me. Put my mask on. Oh, hand sanitizer too. On to the next place. Let's do some shopping. We got some nice Perfect Game 3/4 sleeves right here. I love the 3/4 sleeve. I wear them under my jersey every time I pitch, so that's really nice. Might have to buy one of these. We got our tournament shirt right here for the WWBA World Bat. I think I saw some gloves over there. Let's head over. So obviously when you come to these type of tournaments, it's all about the gear, and Rawlings is the best in the business with the gloves. I have 3 Rawlings gloves of my own. Part of the hide, nice. You got your outfield glove. Making web gems out there in center field. Oh yeah, this is the one. All right, so we're at the backfields now here at JetBlue Park, and this is where all the action happens this week, where the game's won and lost. Let's go check it out. Now, I've played here since I was 15 years old, and actually the first game I pitched here was when I got my first looks from colleges. Something good just happened on this field. Coming to these tournaments, you know that you're gonna see some future major leaguers here, which is a really nice treat, so enjoy it while you can. There's a lot of scouts here too. Obviously with great players comes great opportunities, and the scouts are here to potentially give those players their opportunities. So traditionally, the WWBA Championship in Jupiter is the most scouted event of the year, and it's no different here in Fort Myers. I threw yesterday, threw pretty well. The scouts had some stuff to say. I was up to 94 yesterday, not my personal best, but still very good. I sat 91 to 94, had 8 Ks through 3 innings, so threw very well. And obviously the scouts are looking at a lot of other players here, so you never know. These tournaments are for players who come out here and just show off. So someone can have a really good week and someone can have a really bad week, but in the end, the scouts are looking for the best of the best, and that's why they're here. That about wraps up our tour here in Fort Myers at JetBlue Park. I want to thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned, and I want to thank PerfectGame.tv for the opportunity to come out here and tour this great facility. Obviously some great players have played here, and for me to play here myself is a great opportunity. So keep watching.
All right, so Kimball, we'll go back to you. We'll go back to the situation there. Here we go. You went with youngins. You decided to go with young players, and Cooper Dossett is the first one. This is a talented player, Arkansas, Rawlings National, sticks baseball out of Fayetteville.
Yeah, so he's a two-way player. We've seen him really go get it in center field. He can run. He's got good instincts. He's got feel for the game. We had him at 100 miles per hour in outfield drills earlier in the summer. He would get on the mound, but it was more of a thrower. You could see the arm talent, things like that. Well, here he pitched. And in fact, now that we're at the, to bracket play, he pitched against a playoff team, and a playoff team with a bunch of All-Americans on it. He went 3 innings, 6 Ks, sat in the low 90s. It was a more efficient online delivery. He threw a ton of strikes to his glove side. He gets a little sink on the fastball, and he can really spin the baseball too. But the biggest thing was the strikes. He threw a lot of quality strikes with his fastball, got some swing and miss on the breaking ball, and when you do it against some of the guys that we've talked about here with the Brady House and those guys, that's the lineup he was throwing against. So an underclass kid to come, put up those numbers, but more importantly, you see the development. It's really exciting for us, and I think for everybody going into the 2022 class.
We're breaking a rule here just a little bit, not an NCAA rule, thank goodness, but there's kind of a PG rule that everyone from Michigan, he talks about. We're gonna let you talk about a player from Michigan, Brock Porter, who is a Clemson commit at 22, that Canes 17U prospect team.
I'll steal this one from Sack, no doubt, as he is. He knows this one very well.
That is a rule, right?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Especially at a high school that Sack knows well. So yeah, we're excited about this kid. He came in 8 a.m. and I think all of us would have been completely happy. Hey, he comes and shows a little velo, shows some control of his arsenal and things like that. He didn't show velo. It was loud. It was 92 plus the entire time, up to 95 with a quick arm, but it was effortless. There wasn't a lot of us looking around and saying, man, well, he's really trying to go out there and force an issue. He went out there and pitched, and he's got an unbelievable changeup to go with that. I keep saying breaks for the word because it really just hits a wall and stops. And throughout the summer, we've seen it. Nobody's really been able to hit that pitch, but when he came out with that velocity at 8 a.m. in the morning, again, against another team with a ton of prospects on it, and he was the show that morning. And it was just exciting to see, again, going into this 2022 class. This is an event where you start to separate, okay, these are the guys that were good at 16U. Well, now they came and did it at this event. We've got to really bear down going into next spring and early next summer as we get to the National for this next crop when these guys are going to be bearing down on them next year. Okay? It was fun for me to get to bear down on him this year because I'm excited to see, again, that strength issue, how he develops and things like that. Because if you wouldn't have told me, I would have told you he might have been one of the top arms in the 2021 class at this event.
That's cool. That's super cool. His teammate is Malcolm Moore. He's a Stanford commit. This is another 22 that intrigued you.
Yeah, and been a real riser throughout the late summer as quarantine started to open up. He was able to travel a little more, and he never stopped. You know, it wasn't like, oh, he needed a tournament or two to get going. He came on, he hit from the start, he's hit through here, he's hitting over 400 in this event so far, heading into bracket play here this morning as they're playing on the field right here next to us in the stadium. And 2-strike approach, 8 pitch at bats, identifying. I think that's been the thing that I've appreciated most this weekend of the number of at bats that I've seen. His ability to identify pitches and be able to get off his A swing has been impressive, and especially, you know, he's going against guys that are 90, 94 typically with 3 pitches that have really dominated all summer. His first at bat that we saw was a guy that didn't give up a ton of runs this summer. And he sat in there like he had been seeing this, you know, for this whole calendar year, which obviously we know he hasn't. And he came out and it just looks like he was really born to hit. And it's another one that just is really exciting for us.
Mason Albright. So Mason Albright, PG All-American on the scene, has been seeing a lot of Virginia Tech commit, FTB San Francisco Giant scout team. Yeah,
and Albright's a guy we saw quite a bit this summer as opposed to some of the other guys I talked about earlier. And it was just he's just fun to watch, more than it was I needed to go figure something else out about Albright. I just wanted to go watch him because I enjoy it. Really good pitchability, changes his delivery looks, changes his tempos. Up to 93, kind of sits 88, 92. Good curveball, he can put it where he wants, good changeup. He's the guy that I've said, you know, I think with you before, he's the one guy in his class who toys with hitters. He just messes with them. He screws with these guys, and it's fun to watch. And he did that yesterday. It was a little less fine in terms of command than he had been, but it was still very good. 3 strong shutout innings or whatever it was the other day. Just another really good look.
Jackson Baumeister, Florida State commit, the Bowl School, Jacksonville, Florida, up there in the northeast part of the state.
Yeah, and that's another interesting one. We saw him at the National. We've seen him forever. It wasn't a good summer for him. It was uneven. I think he'd tell you that himself. Was coming off something of a lower body injury. Maybe he came back too soon. Whatever the case was, he's healthy now. He was good last week at the Florida Diamond Club. He's good here. It's healthy now. You can tell he's more stable in his lower half. He's throwing a lot more strikes. Up to 94, just cruised at 92. Always has had a good changeup. It's still there. The breaking ball's come along. I mean, that's a guy that if we saw that all summer, that's a guy who's probably in the first round range on boards. But for him to do it in the fall now we can maybe look at that again when it wasn't necessarily the case all summer.
More players to talk about, more 22s to talk about, but now Roman takes it from JetBlue.
All right, we're here with Marcelo Meyer, perfect game All-American for the 2020 season. What are your expectations for this week?
For this week, our goal as a team is to come out on top, you know, play our brand of baseball, and hopefully we can win the tournament.
From being from California, what's the weather like for you? How is it going to play a factor?
I mean, it's different, you know, it's humid. In Cali, it's usually like around 70s, but I mean, we're ready. It's not really playing a factor. I thought it'd be worse, but it's just a little windy. But
I think last week, as I was throwing my last bullpen, it was like 45 degrees out, so it's definitely nice to be out here in the sun, 90 something. So arm feels great, body feels great, win some ball games.
You know, just drinking a lot of water, pickle juice, bananas, not cramping, being able to control the controllable, and just doing all you can to play at the best of your ability.
Michael, how was your outing today?
It went pretty well. You know, we got the lead early and just kept getting outs the whole game. And now we got the lead still, so I'm happy with my outing.
So you're still 15, so you're a younger player in the class. I'm also a younger player in my class, so what's that feeling like for you?
I actually enjoy it. I like going up against guys who are older than me. I like the experience of facing kids who are 16, 17, 18, going on 19 and doing my thing. You know, it's a lot better than going down against kids my age. You know, it's a lot better to face kids who can hit your fastball. You got to mix things up.
Lastly, what are your goals for this tournament? What do you look forward to?
Honestly, just play my hardest. That's really what I take pride in, just playing my hardest. You know, the results will come, but as long as I play my hardest, I can say I had a good tournament.
All right, man. Good luck this tournament.
Thanks.
Vinnie, I love the Ohio Warhawks teams for a lot of reasons. We've had great features around them. You put a finger on Carlos Pena as a guy. This is a Mizzou commit. This is a New Yorker. Still pretty young. I mean, just turned 17.
You know, Pena's been hitting the ball well all tournament. Friday, he had a home run and a triple in the game. He's been a guy who's been on the circuit the whole year. He really kind of jumped out on the scene at the Junior National a couple years back, and we've been following him closely ever since. And he's a part of a lineup that has a ton of big guys, a ton of physical guys too. You know, he's joined by Josh Baez in that lineup. Excuse me. Like Jered was talking about the younger guys, Zion Rose of 2023 is catching on that team every day and banging the lineup. So, you know, it's a very high potential lineup. Pena in particular, who's been hitting the ball well, it's been really good for him to see that because he's always had that big power, especially from the left side. And now that he's putting a little bit more consistency on the hit tool, it can really improve his stock.
Alex Ulloa is an Oklahoma State commit, our first Coach Holiday man to make this list. He's a Floridian Calvary Christian.
Yeah, Ulloa's been a favorite of the PG scouting staff for a couple years now, dating back to when he was probably around a sophomore year. Because really, all of us who go and see him, he just kind of hits. And he's done the same thing this weekend. You know, he's had a very good fall. He's done very well for himself. Solid defense over at shortstop, enough twitch, enough athleticism, good actions. But really, the consistency of the barrelhead and not only getting hits, but getting hits hard, which has really been a nice improvement to watch over the course of the year. He had a home run yesterday. He's hitting scorchers into the gaps, and it's a really nice middle infield upside pick.
All right, Roman, your last chance, my friend. It's all you.
So obviously you have a big resume. What was it like playing for Team USA?
It's one of the greatest experiences you can achieve at a young age. Playing in Mexico for a gold medal, it was pretty cool. Winning a gold medal is pretty cool. Bringing it back for your country is even better. Being able to compete with other kids from the United States against other countries, that's what it's all about. It's about winning, it's about overcoming adversity, and it's about bonding and just playing for one another.
So being down here as an underclassman, what's that like? I know you were here last year as well, so talk about your experience a little bit.
It's a phenomenal event. I know with COVID and everything, a lot of the colleges aren't here, but last year you can see your college that you were going to. He shows up, and then normally in Jupiter there's all the golf carts. It's a phenomenal event. One thing can change your whole career. You know, you get one big hit, one big play, and everything changes for you.
So you're committed to USC. What's that like? What made you choose USC?
Just the baseball history that's there. I wanted to be a part of it. It's a great school. You know, I wanted to go to school that had good academics as well, so it was just the right fit for me.
And lastly, how was your experience with the PG All-American game this year? Obviously, some of the top prospects in the country are there. What was that like?
You know, it was great. You get to showcase your skills in front of the best talent, in front of all these scouts, and I was really fortunate to be a part of that.
Absolutely. All right, man. Good luck this tournament.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
By the way, Roman, thank you. You gave us perspective. We've been at Terry Park a lot. You guys have been everywhere, but we have had our compound here at Terry Park, so thank you, Roman. Great job taking us around JetBlue. Two more for you, two more youngsters. Maxwell Clark, is this a 22 or a 23?
He's a 23.
Oh my gosh, a Vandy commit.
Yes, and I get to see him young. I get to do the whole spectrum here, all the way down from 13U all the way to working with these guys on their draft stuff. And so I get to see the whole spectrum. Well, this is actually my first look at him. Kind of a famous kid. We have him ranked very high. A lot of our scouts, like these two guys, have seen him plenty. I just, for whatever reason, have been in different parts of the country so far. And I walked away extremely impressed. This guy does everything with natural instincts, with fluidity. It's just an easy player to watch. He's easily an above average runner at this point. He's got a big arm, but it's the maturity at the plate that was impressive for me. He's hitting in the top of a playoff lineup as a 2023. Really seems like the spark plug in the lineup. He can go, he can hit to all fields. He identifies pitches. He handles velocity. He handles breaking stuff. He's willing to use, work deep in counts. Just such a mature approach, and I think that's what I walked away with mostly. Is like, this kid has it's just a much slower heart rate than most people his age. The tools are the tools. We're going to evaluate those, and we're going to see where the body goes. The body's great, but how strong it gets and stuff like that. But when you talk about a kid that's that young and that mature, it just kind of got my feet moving yesterday morning.
Love it. You know whose feet had to be moving a couple of mornings ago? The San Diego show. They made the flight. They had the night rain out, but they were up early in the morning, which feels like, 3 a.m. But David Horn played, and he continues to play. This is a UCLA commit. He's out of Orange County, Mission Viejo, California.
Yeah, I think a lot of times when we talk about the West Coast, we talk about the polish. They pride themselves on kind of being baseball players. And that's what he is. I mean, he's a two-way guy. He's got some thump in the barrel. He's got some feel for it too. But it's on the mound. I mean, it's such a polished delivery. It's online. It's a clean arm action. He absolutely pounds the glove. The glove side of the zone. And the fastball was in the low 90s. He added and subtracted, got a little more movement when he was kind of 89, 90, and then would go ahead and stuff it at 92. And it's a good body. It's durable, but the polish again is impressive for a 2022 with that type of arsenal. And then he started pitching a little backwards and throwing that breaking ball to the glove side, and he was able to get a little run ride on that 92 fastball. And then he'd turn one over and really spin the baseball. And as soon as he started pitching backwards, they had no chance. So I believe he's up today. And I know that we're going to be right there to see it because he is a fun watch. And again, the polish just stands out for him. And there is some upside there.
Great job, guys. I'm going to give Brian you just a final thought and a final word. These are the pressure games, right? This is where kind of the team thing matters even more than the earlier and definitely more than national. What do you learn on this Sunday and Monday, and then when someone holds up the trophy? Do you look closely for how kids handle their business, for how maybe they react to pressure? Is that something you look at?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said this on the show. I know it was with you and Mike Rooney on a broadcast before. Was we and every scout in attendance here, it's important for us to see these kids fail too. That is just as important as seeing them do well. But then the thing that's more important than it all is how they bounce back from that failure. So yeah, these guys that go deep into the playoffs, these teams that are going to play 7 or 8 games or whatever, we're going to see some failure. That's what Jupiter is. That's what WWBA is. And then how do you respond from that? Who's the guy that had a rough semifinal and his team got him to the final and then he's the hero in the final? Like, yeah, that's huge. Can't wait. This day is super fun for that reason, not to mention just watching the players.
Yeah, all sorts of fun. It's been called Jupiter forever. Fort Myers has been a great host. These guys give us such great insights. They're going to go watch players, and we openly now pull for Roman Kimball. Our apologies. You joined the brethren and the broadcast team. You're on our team now, so we pull for him should he take the mound again. Day 4, certainly a huge day. We'll get back to you when we find out who that champion is.